Aaron's eyes slowly opened, and he blinked several times, trying to adjust to the unfamiliar light. His head throbbed as if it had been inside a vice for hours. Slowly, he turned his head to the left, then to the right. He didn't recognize the room. The walls were a soft, pale blue, and strange machines surrounded him, beeping and clicking in a quiet, rhythmic pattern. It didn't look like a hospital, not anything like the ones he remembered. The room felt alien. His hand moved to his forehead. His fingers brushed against his skin, and he felt a slight tingling sensation, like static electricity, running across his skin. He rubbed his eyes and tried to sit up, but his body felt heavy and unresponsive. Panic began to build in his chest. What was going on? Why was he so weak? "Easy now," a soft voice said, almost musical, from the side of the bed. Aaron froze. He wasn't alone. He turned his head and saw a figure standing beside him. It was a woman. At least, it looked like a woman, but she wasn't quite like anyone he had ever seen. She had smooth, almost translucent skin, with soft lavender hues swirling under the surface, like an ethereal mist. Her hair was long, flowing like silver strands of light, and her eyes were a brilliant shade of blue, almost glowing with a calm intensity. Who are you?" Aaron croaked, his voice hoarse, as though he hadn't spoken in years. The woman smiled gently at him, a warm, reassuring smile. "I am Zara. You've been asleep for a very long time, my husband." The words took a moment to sink in. "Husband?" he repeated, his confusion growing.
"What do you mean, husband? I don't remember you."
Zara's smile softened even more, but there was a hint of sadness in her eyes. "You were in a deep sleep. It's understandable that you don't remember me, but we were once close. We shared many moments together." Aaron's mind was racing. His heart pounded in his chest. "What do you mean, deep sleep? Where am I?"
What?
Zara leaned in a little, her voice soothing as she spoke.
"You're on a medical ship, Aaron. You've been in stasis for the past 20 years.
Aaron's eyes widened. 20 years? That's impossible. "I don't remember anything about that. I don't even know who you are." "Understandable," Zara replied. "You've gone through a lot, but you're safe now. You're here with me, and everything will be all right." Aaron's mind was reeling. 20 years? He couldn't remember anything. There were gaps in his mind, large blank spaces where memories should be. He struggled to make sense of it all. "What happened to me?" he asked again, his voice shaking. Zara took a deep breath. "The world you knew is no longer the same. Earth was torn apart by war, Aaron. And not just a war against humans. It was an intergalactic conflict. Earth was on the brink of annihilation. You were part of a program, a project to preserve humanity. You were chosen for a special mission." "A special mission?" Aaron repeated, his voice rising in disbelief. "What are you talking about? I don't even remember any of it." Zara nodded, her expression serious. "It was a top-secret mission. You were one of the last soldiers who fought in a war that stretched across the stars. You were part of a project where humans and aliens worked together to fight a common enemy. But the war took its toll. The project required that you be put into stasis to protect you from the mental and physical damage that would come from the battle." Aaron's head spun with the information. A war? An intergalactic conflict? He couldn't wrap his mind around it. All he could focus on was the fact that 20 years had passed, and yet he had no memory of it. No memory of Zara, no memory of anything. "Wait," he said suddenly, as a thought crossed his mind. "If I've been asleep for 20 years, why am I not dead? I mean, 20 years is a long time. I should have aged or something.
Zara smiled again, but this time there was a hint of pride in her expression.
That's because you were enhanced. The project wasn't just about saving you, Aaron.
It was about evolving humanity. You were given the best of both human and alien technology. You were transformed. Your body was altered to become stronger, more resilient. Time no longer affects you the same way it does for others.
Aaron looked at his hands in confusion.
They looked the same as they always had, but they felt different. Stronger somehow. As though they had been charged with energy, like a powerful machine. He didn't understand. None of this made sense. How? How is that possible? He whispered. How could I have been changed like that? Zara took a step closer to him, her expression tender. We used alien technology to enhance your body, your strength, your mind. We believed you were one of the last hopes for Earth. You were the key to ensuring humanity's survival. Aaron shook his head, struggling to grasp what Zara was saying. But I don't remember any of it. I don't remember being part of any mission. I don't remember this war you're talking about. That's because your memory was altered, Zara explained gently. To protect you from the trauma, we wiped your memories. We didn't want you to carry the burden of the things you saw, the things you did. Aaron's heart sank. Was it possible? Could everything Zara was saying be true? He wanted to believe her, but the more she spoke, the more he felt a deep sense of unease.
Why can't I remember any of this?
He asked, his voice low. Why did you have to erase my memories? And why didn't you wake me up sooner? Zara's expression softened, and she placed a hand on his shoulder. The decision to wake you was never in my hands. You were in stasis, protected by a network of alien allies. They kept you safe, but only recently did we receive word that the war was truly over.
Over? Aaron repeated.
But the war was with aliens, right?
Yes, Zara replied, her voice serious.
The war between humanity and the alien factions was destructive, but the peace was fragile. There were factions within the aliens who wished for the destruction of humanity, but others saw our potential. They believed we could coexist, that Earth could be a part of a larger intergalactic alliance. We won the war, but not without sacrifice. Aaron was silent, his mind racing. Earth? Part of an intergalactic alliance? It sounded like something out of a science fiction novel. It was impossible to believe. Yet the way Zara spoke, with such certainty, made him wonder if maybe it was true. Zara continued, We saved humanity, Aaron. You and I, we were part of that. And now it's time for you to adjust to this new world. But don't worry. I'm here for you. I've always been here. Aaron felt his chest tighten. Zara's words seemed comforting, but they also felt like a heavy weight. He didn't remember any of it. He didn't remember being her husband or fighting in a war. He didn't remember anything except the confusion he felt in that moment. The room was quiet for a moment, and then Aaron spoke again, his voice barely above a whisper. Zara, what if I don't want to remember? What if I'm not the person you think I am? Zara looked at him with deep understanding. I know this is hard, Aaron, but remember, you are a hero. You saved humanity. You fought for the future of our world. The person you were is still in there, even if you don't remember it. But deep inside, Aaron couldn't help but feel a growing sense of doubt. Who was he, really? What kind of man had he been? What had happened to Earth during the 20 years he had been asleep? And most importantly, who was Zara, really? As his thoughts swirled, Aaron closed his eyes, trying to calm the storm inside his mind. The journey ahead would not be easy. But one thing was clear. He had to find the truth about the war, the truth about the woman standing beside him, and most importantly, the truth about himself. Aaron sat up slowly, the strange sensation of his body feeling more powerful than he remembered, sending a ripple of unease through him. His eyes wandered around the room, taking in the unfamiliar environment once again. It looked like a medical bay, but much different from the sterile white walls of any hospital he had ever seen. Soft blue lights glowed above him, casting a calming, almost otherworldly hue on everything around. His hands, though looking like they always had, felt strong, too strong, and his muscles rippled with an odd energy, like he could lift anything with ease. He turned to look at Zara, who had been sitting quietly at his side, observing him. She gave him a small smile, the same warm expression that had greeted him when he first woke up. But now, it felt like a mask, hiding something underneath. "Are you all right?" Zara asked, her voice gentle but carrying an edge of concern. Aaron hesitated, taking a moment to truly think about her question. Was he all right? He was alive, yes, but everything about this situation felt wrong. He didn't remember any of it. 20 years? He couldn't recall anything from the time before. Everything he had known seemed to have disappeared.
"I don't know," Aaron muttered, shaking his head. "None of this makes sense."
"What do you mean by we were together?" "I don't remember any of it." Zara sighed softly, as if trying to find the right words. "I understand this is difficult for you. It's hard to come to terms with the past when it's been erased from your memory. But you and I, Aaron, we were part of a mission that saved the Earth. It's time for you to understand why." Aaron ran a hand through his hair. He could feel the tension in his muscles, an unnatural tightness in his body, almost like his body was too aware of its own strength. He focused on Zara's words, but every time she mentioned the mission, his mind scrambled to make sense of it.
"Can you explain everything? Because I don't remember fighting anyone, or anything about Earth being in danger."
"I don't remember anything at all." Zara's eyes softened as she nodded, and she began speaking with the calm, almost hypnotic tone that had filled the room since he had first woken up. 20 years ago, Aaron, Earth was at war, not just with another country or group of people, but with an alien race, a species far more advanced than anything we knew. The war nearly destroyed humanity. But you, Aaron, you were part of a special team of soldiers chosen to fight back. Aaron's brows furrowed. "I was a soldier? Yes, but not just any soldier."
"You were selected because of your potential. You were part of a project to enhance human abilities using alien technology."
He stared at Zara, a little shocked. "Enhanced abilities?"
"What are you talking about?" Zara hesitated for a moment before answering. "We worked with a peaceful alien faction who saw humanity's potential. Together, we developed a way to give you and others in the program abilities beyond anything you could imagine. Strength, speed, endurance, but more than that, we gave you the ability to withstand the horrors of war. To survive." "War," Aaron repeated, trying to understand. "So, the aliens helped us fight?"
"Yes," Zara confirmed. "But it wasn't just about fighting. We had to preserve humanity's future. And to do that, we had to change you. We enhanced your body, your mind, your very essence." Aaron felt his pulse quicken. Enhanced? His mind raced back to the strange sensation he had when he woke up, that feeling of power running through his veins. He could feel it now, like an electric current moving through his body. His hand clenched into a fist instinctively, and the pressure he felt different than before. More controlled, stronger.
"And that's how you saved Earth?" Aaron asked slowly, still trying to make sense of Zara's words.
"Yes," Zara answered, her voice unwavering. "But it wasn't just about saving Earth. It was about saving the future. The aliens we fought against wanted to destroy everything. They wanted to eliminate humanity, to take away the one thing they feared, our resilience." Aaron sat in silence, trying to process the weight of what Zara was saying. The more she spoke, the more questions swirled inside him, but none of the answers made any sense. His mind was clouded with confusion and doubt.
"I don't remember any of this," Aaron finally said. I don't remember fighting.
I don't remember anything about the war, about Earth, about you. He paused, his voice dropping to a whisper. I don't even know who I am anymore. Zara's expression softened, and she reached out to place her hand gently on his arm. You are Eren, the man who fought for humanity. You are the one who has the power to shape the future.
Eren looked into her eyes, but he couldn't find the comfort he was looking for.
He wanted to believe her, but his mind wouldn't let him.
Then why did you erase my memories?
He asked.
Why would you do that? Zara's face grew serious. We erased your memories to protect you?
The trauma of the war was too much. You saw things, Eren, things no one should have to see. You fought against an enemy that would have destroyed everything you loved. We didn't want you to carry that burden.
So we gave you a fresh start?
But the truth is, even with your memories erased, you were still the hero you were meant to be. Eren stood up, his legs wobbling beneath him. He steadied himself against the bed. The room felt too small, too suffocating. Zara's words rang in his ears, but they didn't seem to fit with the man he thought he was. You say I'm a hero, Eren said, his voice rising. But what if I don't want to be? What if I don't want to be part of this war, or this mission, or whatever it is? Zara's eyes softened with understanding, and she slowly stood as well, coming closer to him.
I know this is overwhelming, Eren, but you don't have to carry this alone.
You were never meant to. I'm here to guide you, to help you remember who you are. Eren turned away, walking to the window of the medical bay. He stared out, but all he saw was a vast emptiness, stretching endlessly beyond the glass. He could feel the weight of the world on his shoulders, but he didn't know how to handle it. He wanted answers. He needed to know who he truly was, and more than anything, he wanted to understand what had happened to Earth in the last 20 years. What had happened to humanity? What had happened to him? I don't know if I can do this, Eren said, his voice quiet now, tinged with uncertainty. I don't know if I can be the man you're asking me to be.
Zara didn't answer immediately.
She simply walked up behind him, standing silently at his side. Then, she placed a hand gently on his shoulder. You don't have to do anything, Eren. Not yet. Just take things one step at a time. You're not alone anymore, and I'll be here with you every step of the way. Eren took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside his mind. He didn't know if he could trust her. He didn't know if he could trust anything anymore. But one thing was clear. His life had been changed forever, and now the journey to find out who he really was and what had happened to the world had only just begun. As he stood there, staring into the unknown future, a small part of him, deep inside, wondered if he could ever find peace with the life that had been forced upon him. Eren's mind was in turmoil. Zara's words kept echoing in his head, but they didn't feel like they belonged to him. How could he be part of something so huge, something so important, yet have no memory of it? How could he be the hero she described, and yet feel so lost? The feeling of being out of place, of being a stranger to himself, weighed heavily on him. His body, enhanced with alien technology, felt like a weapon, but it wasn't something he understood or even wanted. He walked to the far corner of the room, his feet heavy on the floor. The walls of the medical bay seemed to close in on him as he tried to make sense of it all. Everything felt foreign, from his own reflection in the glass to the world beyond. He turned back to Zara, standing silently at the doorway, watching him. I don't understand, Eren said, his voice cracking slightly as he turned toward her. You're telling me that I fought a war I don't even remember. That I'm supposed to be this soldier, this hero. But I don't feel like a hero. I feel like I don't even know who I am. Zara took a step closer to him, her expression softening. She spoke slowly, carefully, as if choosing each word with precision. You don't need to remember it all at once. It's okay to feel lost, Aaron. You've been through something no one else has experienced, but what I'm telling you is true. You did save humanity. You did fight for Earth's future.
Aaron shook his head. I don't even remember fighting.
I don't remember Earth. I don't remember the war.
All I know is that I woke up, and now I'm supposed to be someone else.
He paused for a moment, taking a deep breath. I don't even know if I can trust you. You keep telling me things, but it doesn't make sense.
I don't remember you? I don't remember anything.
Zara's eyes softened with sympathy. But there was something else in her gaze. Something deeper.
You're not the only one who has changed, Aaron. You're not.
I've changed too. We all have in some way. But we have to trust in the process. You were chosen for this mission. You were chosen because you had something inside you that could make a difference. Even if you don't remember it, it's still there. The words chosen and mission weighed heavily on him. They sounded like the kind of things that were supposed to make him feel important, but instead, they made him feel small. It was as if someone else's life had been forced upon him, and he was stuck trying to live it out.
I don't want to be a part of something I don't understand, Aaron said,
his voice low. I don't want to be a hero if I don't know who I am. I don't want to carry the weight of a past that isn't mine. Zara looked at him for a long time, as though she were searching for the right words to say. You think you don't know who you are, but you do. Deep down, you know. You are a man who has always fought for what's right. You are someone who has stood up for others, even when it meant sacrificing yourself. Aaron felt a flicker of something inside him, an emotion he couldn't quite place. Was it hope? Was it anger? Or was it the first stirring of something that felt like the person he had been? He couldn't tell, but it was there, like a faint pulse in his chest. Maybe I don't know who I am, he said slowly. But I don't like feeling like I'm being used, like I'm some tool for someone else's agenda. Zara's expression hardened just slightly, but her voice remained calm. I'm not asking you to be a tool, Aaron. I'm asking you to be the man you were meant to be, to use the strength inside you, not just for others, but for yourself. You were given this second chance for a reason. You were given a gift that most people would never even dream of. Aaron shook his head.
A gift? He laughed bitterly, the sound harsh in the quiet room. It doesn't feel like a gift.
It feels like a curse. Zara stepped forward, her eyes locking with his. What if it's both? What if the gift is the curse, and the curse is the gift? What if the key to understanding who you are is embracing everything you've become, good and bad? The words hung in the air, and for a moment, Aaron was silent. Could he really accept what he had become? Could he trust Zara when he didn't trust himself? Why? Tell me about the war, Aaron said suddenly, surprising even himself. Tell me everything. I need to know what I'm a part of, what I'm supposed to fight for. Zara nodded. She moved toward one of the walls and pressed a small, glowing button. The wall in front of them shimmered and began to change, transforming into a holographic display. A map of the Earth appeared, with lines and shapes shifting to show an image of the world as it had been 20 years ago. The war started when a faction of aliens called the Thalkar invaded Earth, Zara explained, her voice steady. They were part of a larger intergalactic alliance, but they had their own agenda. They saw humanity as a threat to the galaxy. The war was brutal, lasting for years, but the turning point came when we humans and our alien allies discovered the Thalkar's real plan, to wipe out Earth and replace it with their own colonies. Aaron watched in silence as the hologram showed scenes of destruction, cities in flames, ships hovering above Earth, and battles fought in the sky. He could feel a deep pang of guilt and anger rising inside him, but it was hard to know if it was real or just an echo of the past. Zara continued, You were one of the soldiers chosen to fight back. The project was secret, a last-ditch effort to save Earth. You were enhanced, given the strength of the alien technology we had allied with. But the war wasn't just about strength. It was about survival, about finding hope in the darkest times. Aaron looked at the images, feeling a connection to them that was impossible to explain. He couldn't remember fighting, but a part of him could feel it. The weight of it all, the lives lost, the sacrifices made.
But the war didn't end with just victory, Zara said softly. It ended with a choice
that not everyone agreed with. After the Falcar were defeated, we formed a fragile peace with the remaining alien factions, but some wanted more than peace. They wanted control. They wanted Earth to remain under their influence. Aaron turned to her, his eyes narrowing. And you? What do you want? Zara's gaze never faltered. I want Earth to be free. I want humanity to have its place among the stars, not as a pawn, but as an equal. But I also know that it's not that simple. You're not the only one who's been changed, Aaron.
I have my own part to play in this.
Aaron studied her, trying to read the woman who had been by his side for so long. He didn't trust her fully, he couldn't. But there was something in her eyes, a truth he couldn't deny.
So what now? He asked, his voice hardening. What happens to me now?
To Earth? What's my role in all of this? Zara stepped closer to him, her voice firm but kind.
Your role is to decide what happens next.
The future is in your hands, Aaron. You can choose to embrace the man you once were, or you can walk away and leave everything behind. Aaron stood still, feeling the weight of her words settle on his shoulders. Could he really walk away from everything? Could he leave behind the person he was meant to be?
I don't know if I can trust myself, he whispered.
Zara smiled softly.
That's why you're not alone. You'll find your way, Aaron. We all will. As the hologram flickered and disappeared, Aaron looked out the window once more.
The stars beyond seemed to beckon him, but they felt like a distant dream. He had been given a second chance. But at what cost? The path ahead wasn't clear. But for the first time since waking up, he felt a tiny flicker of something inside him. A glimmer of hope, or perhaps a spark of his past self. Whatever lay ahead, he knew one thing for sure. The journey had only just begun. Aaron stood there, the weight of Zara's words pressing down on him like a 1,000-ton stone. The path ahead was unclear, but somehow he knew he had to make a choice. The choice she spoke of, whether to embrace the man he had been or to walk away from everything. But the truth was, he wasn't sure who that man was anymore. He didn't know if the person he had been before could ever come back. All he knew was that the future wasn't something he could ignore any longer. He turned away from the window, the stars beyond seeming like a distant, unreachable place. He could feel the strange pulse of power within him. The alien enhancements that Zara had spoken of. His body had been changed, reshaped into something stronger, something more resilient. But for what? What was the point of all this power if he couldn't remember who he was? Zara was still standing behind him, watching quietly, as if waiting for him to make a decision. He could feel her presence, calming and steady, but it wasn't enough to quiet the storm inside him. He needed answers. He needed to know what had happened, not just to him, but to Earth, to humanity. I don't know if I can be the person you want me to be, Aaron said finally, his voice rough. He turned to face her, his eyes searching hers. I don't know if I can be the hero you're telling me I am. Zara didn't flinch, didn't look away. She held his gaze, her expression calm, almost serene. You don't have to be the hero I want you to be. You just have to be the person you are, Aaron, the person you've always been, the person who's always fought for what's right, even when it seemed impossible. Aaron clenched his fists at his sides, the unfamiliar strength in his arms reminding him of what he had become. What if I don't want this? What if I don't want to fight anymore? Zara took a small step closer to him, her voice soft but firm. I can't tell you what to do, Aaron, but you've always known deep down what's right. The war, the peace, everything that's happened, it's all led to this moment. To you, you've been given the chance to shape the future, not just for Earth, but for all of humanity. And I believe that's why you were chosen. Aaron ran a hand through his hair, frustration boiling up inside him. I don't even remember being chosen. I don't remember anything. I don't even know if I want this future. Zara stepped forward again, this time with more urgency. This isn't just about you. This is about all of us. You might not remember the battles you fought, but those battles are still there, still waiting for you to finish them. And you're not alone in this. We've been fighting for a future, Aaron. A future where humanity doesn't just survive, but thrives. And you are part of that future, whether you remember it or not. Aaron's mind was spinning, the weight of her words mixing with the confusion in his head. He wanted to believe her, wanted to believe that he could be the man she described, but a part of him couldn't shake the feeling that he was being manipulated, that he was being used for someone else's agenda. He didn't want to be a puppet, a tool in someone's grand plan.
I don't know how to trust any of this, he said, his voice low. I don't know how to trust myself. Zara's eyes softened, and she took another step forward.
You don't have to trust yourself right away. But I do, and so do the people who fought with you. They believe in you, Aaron. They believe you can lead us into this new future. You don't have to carry the weight alone.
I'm here. I'll always be here.
Aaron stood still, torn between the feeling of betrayal and the faint pull of hope. What if Zara was right? What if there was still a chance to do something good, something meaningful? The thought scared him, but it also sparked something deep within him. He wasn't sure if he was ready, but he knew that if he didn't try, if he didn't take this chance, he might lose everything. Not just the world, but himself.
Okay, he said after a long pause, his voice uncertain but resolute. Okay, I'll try.
But I need to know everything. I need to know what's going on. What happened to Earth? To humanity? To me? Zara nodded, her expression grave but supportive.
I'll tell you everything, Aaron.
But you have to understand, the truth is not always easy. The path ahead is uncertain, and it won't be easy.
There will be choices you have to make, choices that will affect more than just you.
Aaron looked at her, his heart pounding in his chest. I know, he said quietly, but I have to know. I have to understand. Zara nodded again, her voice steady. All right. Let's start with the truth. The war that ravaged Earth was only part of a larger conflict. The Thalkar, the alien species you fought against. They weren't the only ones who saw humanity as a threat. There were others, factions within their own alliance, who feared what humanity could become. And they wanted to ensure that Earth never had the chance to grow, to thrive. They wanted to keep humanity under control, to destroy the very essence of what made us who we are. Aaron felt a chill run down his spine as he listened. The world he had known, the world he had been a part of, had been so different. He couldn't remember the battles, the victories, or the sacrifices, but he could feel the weight of it all pressing down on him. So the war was about more than just survival, Aaron said slowly. It was about control. Yes, Zara confirmed. The Thalkar's war was not just about dominance, but about eliminating a potential threat. They saw humanity as a rising force in the galaxy, a force that could eventually challenge their own power, and so they decided to wipe us out. Aaron swallowed hard. The thought of an entire species bent on destroying humanity made his blood run cold. He couldn't understand how anyone could think that way. But there was one thing he did understand. The fight wasn't just about survival. It was about keeping humanity alive, keeping the dream of a future intact.
And you? You're telling me I was part of all that? Aaron asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Zara met his gaze, her eyes filled with determination. You were more than just a soldier, Aaron. You were the hope. You were part of a project to make humanity stronger, more resilient. You were given the strength to stand against impossible odds. And you were part of the solution, the key to defeating them. Aaron shook his head.
But I don't remember any of that. I don't remember being that person. Zara placed a hand on his shoulder, her grip firm but gentle.
It's not about remembering who you were. It's about who you choose to be now. The man you were is still inside you. The strength, the courage. It's all there, waiting for you to take it back.
You've always known what's right, Aaron. You've always known how to fight for what matters.
Aaron stood there, his thoughts racing. He didn't know if he was ready to be that man again, but part of him felt a stirring deep inside, a flicker of something he couldn't quite explain. Maybe it was the man he used to be. Maybe it was just the beginning of something new. I don't know if I can be that man again, he said, his voice trembling.
But I'll try. I'll try to fight for what's right.
Zara smiled softly, her eyes filled with pride. That's all anyone can ask for.
Aaron took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the decision settle on his shoulders.
The path ahead wasn't clear and the future was uncertain. But one thing was certain. He couldn't turn back now. The war, the peace, the future. They were all part of something bigger than himself. And he had a part to play in it. As he stood there, looking out at the stars once more, he made a silent promise to himself. He would fight. He would find the truth, find his place in this new world, and do whatever it took to ensure that humanity's future wasn't just a dream, but a reality. The journey was only beginning, and Aaron wasn't sure where it would lead. But for the first time since waking up, he felt a spark of hope deep within him. Maybe he wasn't alone in this after all. Maybe, just maybe, he could still be the hero Zara believed him to be.